This video is not intended to show you how to replace all of the coolant hoses and lines on your 991 Gen 1. It is intended as an overview of the type of hoses and connections you will run into when replacing hoses and how to properly work them. Each of the major hoses are covered in different subsections, i.e. the radiator hoses are covered in radiator replacement. If you are seeing puddles under your Porsche, there is a good chance you have a coolant leak. The easiest way to check this is to pressure test your system. Please follow the link provided at the end of this video for additional assistance with that task. The system is a vacuum fill. This means that it has to be drained and hold vacuum, then use that negative pressure to fill the system. This is all covered on our articles and videos on coolant flush and fill. If you're draining your system, the lowest point at the rear is the two drain plugs on the thermostat housing and cross pipe, red arrows. The Porsche factory uses spring compression type clamps on its hoses. If you're going to be working with them, do yourself a favor and get a good set of proper hose clamp pliers. A straight and angled set is all you will need. It will make a world of difference and save you time and aggravation. Porsche also uses and recommends its own proprietary type of coolant seal lubrication and to use it when installing any gasket, seal, or O-ring in the coolant system. The coolant reservoir is a source of leaks as it gets old and brittle. If yours is leaking and needs replacement, please follow the link provided at the end of this video for additional assistance with replacing the reservoir. With the engine carrier off, you can see the main supply and return lines, red arrows, coming out of and returning to the thermostat housing, blue arrow. You can also see the coolant pump, green arrow. All of these can be sources of leaks, but we also have articles and videos on how to replace them. With the lower body trays removed, you can see where the main supply and return metal lines switch to rubber lines, red arrows. The hose fittings are both hen and standard hose clamps. For the hen fittings, you just use a pick and pull the metal retaining clip off and wiggle the hose apart. Also shown here are the transmission cooler hoses, green arrows. Both the supply and return lines are metal and run in the tunnel under the vehicle, green arrow. The coolant temperature sensor is located on the left line, red arrow. At the front, under the subframe support brace, the lines turn and the rubber hoses are used again, red arrows. Just like at the rear, the hoses are both hen fittings, green arrow, and the standard hose clamps, red arrow. At the front fender well, the lines again change to rubber hoses going to and from the radiators, red arrows. These lines are hen couplings to metal lines and standard hose fittings to the radiators. If you have a center radiator, you will also have hoses and connections there. Our project car did not. This image also shows one of the bleed or vent lines that attach to the vent valve on the reservoir, green arrow. These are push compression fittings. If you are not replacing the hoses after separating, I highly recommend replacing the O-ring. Make sure to lubricate all connections and O-rings with Porsche lubricant. This image shows where the vent lines, red arrows, attach to the vent valve on the reservoir, green arrow. To remove these connections, push in on the plastic clips and slide the line off. Some lines, like the one next to the coolant reservoir, are both hen couplings, red arrow, and push-pull compression fittings, blue arrow. Newer gaskets will come from the factory with nubs on them, red arrow. This helps hold the gasket in place. These, along with lubricant, which makes the gasket tacky, help hold them in place even when mounting them upside down. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and check out another video in this series.